Okay, first lesson in chapter 5 is inequalities. So this is just like equations, but instead of the two expressions being equal, one's going to be bigger than or less than the other. So an inequality is a relation, which means a non-equal comparison between two numbers or mathematical expressions. So when we say A is less than B, they are not equal. It says, for instance, here, A is less than B. So how we'd write that algebraically is just A is less than B. A is greater than B means that A is greater than B. They're not equal, they're a comparison. A is less than or equal to B. Oh, oops. Wrote these on the wrong line. A is less than or equal to B. You could say A is at most B. If A is at most B, that means it's equal to B or less than it. A is greater than or equal to B means that A is at least B, meaning it can be at least the same amount or greater. So inequalities sometimes have equal signs with them. A is greater than B and less than C. So A is between B and C. So it says A is greater than B, but less than C. A is greater than or equal to B and less than or equal to C. You might have to try this a few times when you write it down, but that's the thing. Like, don't say, how would I know that? Well, try it, and whatever you write, compare it. Is it true? If not, adjust. A is not equal to B. Okay, so these are symbols you're going to see in mathematics. So now that we've reviewed how to write inequalities, let's review how to graph them. So if f is greater than -1, that means I start at -1, but I don't fill it in because I'm not actually touching -1. I'm just saying I'm so close to -1, okay, but I'm greater than it. So I could be -1, or I'm sorry, I could be -0.999999999. It's so close that we just put a circle around -1, saying any number greater than it, but not actually equal to it. And we shade to the right, saying all these numbers would be greater than -1. Yeah, 4 is greater than -1. 1.75 is greater than -1, okay? Here it says m is equal to 3, or it is less than 3, and we shade. So all of these represent numbers that are less than or equal to 3. So inequalities don't just have one answer, they have many answers. Example 1 says, solve the inequality. Well, m is not by itself. Solving is just isolating a variable. So if I wanted to solve for m, anything that is not an m, I move to the other side. So we have m is greater than or equal to 10. It didn't ask me to graph, so that's it. Here it says graph the solution. Well, x isn't by itself. I'm going to move everything that's an x to one side. So if this is a positive x, I'm going to subtract it on both sides. I'm going to get 2 minus 1 is 1x is greater than 3. So x is 3 or greater. But you're not actually equal to 3. You're just so close to 3 that we put a circle on 3, but we just can't be that. All right, this one asks to solve the inequalities. Well, to get x by itself, you have to divide both sides by 3, and x is greater than 2. Get y by itself, 16 divided by 2 is 8. Y. I don't like writing it like this because students tend to graph it incorrectly. So let's start writing on the left, always the variable. So this says 8 is greater than y. That means y is less than. This is pointed to y, so we need to point it to y still. They mean the same thing, we're just rewriting it. So y is less than or equal to 8. Divide both sides by 5. Let's try it again. X is less than 5. So you can rewrite it like this. It means the same thing. We just have to flip the sign because we're flipping the order. To get a by itself, multiply both sides by 3. A is greater than 12. And this seems very simple, but we're going to it slowly. Some of this is review for some of you, so you've never seen it. Example 4 says, write an inequality that describes the points. Okay, well, this is just saying x is equal to 3. I should have, let's just shade this in. I didn't shade it in. I always forget that I have to do it when I make these copies because I don't really do it on my computer. So x is equal to -3, but you can be also greater than it. So that's how you'd write that. Now, if this was shaded this way, how would you write an inequality? Well, you're at 0. You can't be equal to it, so I'm not going to write this little bar, but I'm less than it, so we just write it like that. So you're going to have examples like that in your homework. Here it says, try these on your own. So I want you to pause the video, and I want you to do these problems and then come back and watch. So this one's weird. I'm in between 2 points. So here's 2, here's -3. I'm equal to this. I'm not equal to this. Okay. All right. So that's it for lesson 1. You're going to like this chapter. We just ended chapter 2 and chapter 5 I put next because it's just like equations and it's pretty easy. So I think it'll be a great transition. Chapter 3 and 4 kind of go together, so I'm going to put them next. But this is going to be a very nice chapter, so please do your work. So this is going to be an easy A for you if you do your work. If you don't, it might not be. So take advantage of it. Your 8 problems are on your Google Classroom. Make sure you get them done.